pick we hit was courtesy of the sniper. And that's at least a plus number, but we certainly lost a lot here. Some heavy juice on the other ones. 1 and 4 is not going to get it done. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring in now the stars of the show to correct and right the wrongs of yesterday. Overall in the week, it hasn't been terrible because we started off the week 9-3 with a recap stream. We got Amags, we got Calvin Wetzel, we got PropStarz, and we got Mikey B. Amags, I see you kind of shaking your head here. What are your thoughts?
Total letdown by the Rays. They made Lucas Giolito look like Cy Young yesterday. So that was unfortunate. We are bringing things all the way back today to their roots. We've got the Braves hat on, a Braves player prop, keeping it simple, back to the way things started.
Yeah, and speaking of baseball, we're going to have some picks on this show, but you all know at this point at 12:55, we're starting the MLB live stream. We're probably going to go at least an hour and a half, taking us through the 2 o'clock starts. That's going to be kind of 5 games going at the same time. It's going to be Amags. It's going to be Tom Casale, Mike McClure, and Matt Snyder, and me, of course, just hosting. But really excited for that. So make sure you tune in around that 1 o'clock time frame. Calvin Wetzel, we got NBA Finals tonight, but we also have the WNBA. What are the state of things?
It's the Commissioner's Cup is in full swing right now, the equivalent of the NBA Cup, actually where the NBA got the idea, for those who don't know. And we're going to get into it in a little bit with my pick, but probably the biggest Commissioner's Cup game so far this year is on the slate tonight in Storm vs. Lynx.
I love that. And by the way, just to be clear, the NBA took their midseason tournament thing from the WNBA?
They did. The WNBA is doing it for 4 or 5 years now. And what was this, the second year for the NBA?
See, that's the thing. We need clarity on that because it feels like the NBA was like, hey, I've got a great idea. Meanwhile, they stole it from the W. Not very cool. PropStarz, very cool because we got the NBA Finals today, and I know you've been all over the NBA Finals. Curious on your thoughts on the game, which we'll get to later. But you showed up today, you don't have to give it out right now, with an NFL prop, which I love because we're just going to start doing that not only on this show, but on the network show as well, where we're just going to heavily preview teams. We're 86 days away from NFL kickoff. That, of course, is Hines Ward days away. PropStarz, how you feeling?
Feeling great, Sia. It's officially NFL Futures time at PropStarz HQ. I've been diving in deep on the wide array of categories here, whether it's season-long props, awards, etc. I can tell you right off the bat, previous seasons, it was really profitable just to fade superstars almost blindly on their season-long totals. That trend has reversed, in my opinion. I think there's actually a lot of value to be had on some season-long overs pertaining to NFL superstars, and that's a little teaser for my pick to come.
Wow, very, very interesting. All right. Picks to come indeed. Mikey B, let's just get it started. I'm going to ask you and PropStarz on your opinion, just on a side here. We have a producer pick from Ben, which we're going to get to later on in the show. It's one of his patented first quarter plays. But Mikey B, let's just start off with the pick, and then I'm going to ask you about the game itself.
Sure. My pick is Chet Holmgren over 14.5 points at -115. He scored 15 points in game 2. The key was he played 28 minutes. That was very encouraging considering they sat their starters towards the end of the fourth quarter because of the score. And he only played 24 minutes in game 1, which contributed to him scoring just 6 points in that game. Overall in the playoffs, he's averaged 15.8 points per game. And on the road during the regular season, he averaged 17 points per game. He was much more productive on the road than at home. And that was a lot, mostly because the Thunder played in closer games on the road than they did at home. I think this game stays close. We see Holmgren play around 30 minutes, which gives him a great chance to go over that 14.5 points. And I want to mention this. Yesterday, for all you SportsLine subscribers, I put on the site Miles Turner over 13.5 points at -125. That has since moved. The line is 14.5. I obviously like the 13.5 better, but I would still lean over on 14.5. He scored at least 15 points in both games of the finals here. He averaged 16.3 points per game at home during the regular season. That's compared to 14.8 on the road. He scored at least 15 points in 6 of 8 playoff games. So while I obviously like the 13.5 the most, I lean over on 14.5 too.
All right. So we got a little lean to Miles Turner, something that if you're a SportsLine member, it sounds like you would have gotten. Mikey B, right? You put that out. Did I hear that?
Yesterday. Yep. Official pick went up yesterday.
It's now gone up to 14.5, which happens, of course. PropStarz, I want to get you involved here with respect to this game. I'm looking at the line. It looks like it opened at 4.5. This is like days ago. I feel like there's like a month between games now. It opened at 4.5, went to 5.5. I'm seeing some 5s now. Do you have any thoughts on a side in this game?
Yeah, I'm backing the Pacers here at home.
Yeah.
They've been a terrific home team all season long, at a tremendous home record. Also, looking at the previous 2 games, in game 2, the Oklahoma City Thunder once again won the turnover battle, out-rebounded the Pacers as well. To me, that's a little bit of an effort thing. I think coming home, being re-energized by that home crowd, still just a 1-1 series. Yes, they've been outplayed in 7 out of 8 quarters, but still going back to Indiana 1-1, you really can't ask for a much better scenario. So, yeah, I think this is a spot we're going to see the Pacers respond. They're going to be up for this game. I think we see a tremendous effort, and give me the home team getting 5 or 5.5 points.
Mikey B, that's a pretty compelling argument here at BetMGM. It's plus 5.5 at minus 115. I mean, we know OKC they don't struggle on the road, but they're not the same team that they are at home. And I just wonder if anybody thinks the Pacers can grab one or let alone like cover the spread. I feel like it's this game. What are your thoughts at the plus 5.5?
Yeah, I would lean towards the Pacers in the plus 5.5. Talked about this on CBS Sports Network on Monday. The Thunder are 4-3 on the road in the playoffs. 3 of their 4 wins were by 5 or fewer points. The one that would have covered this was a 6-point win against the Grizzlies, who are obviously not even in the same class as the Pacers. So, yeah, I would lean towards the Pacers at plus 5.5 here.
All right. Absolutely love that. And for the record, the Monday preview from CBS Sports Network, I think that segment was me, you, Mike McClure, and Mackenzie Brooks. I think that one, it might have been PropStarz, forgive me. I don't know if you were on that segment or not, but that was cut up and put on the SportsLine YouTube channel. So if you want to go back and listen to that, a lot of those segments do get cut up and put on the SportsLine YouTube channel. It will be very easy to find. Just scroll some of the shows, some of the shows lately, maybe throw in NBA finals to your search and you're going to find it. Hey, Mags, I want to get to your pick, but I think we have to go around the horn here because prior to the show, Buckets brought up, we'll do this quick, I promise, because I know people are here for picks. I totally get it. We'll do this very, very quickly. Buckets asked what I had for breakfast. I implied I didn't have time for breakfast because it's actually a pretty busy day for me and a lot of the SportsLine crew today. I lied. I actually did eat breakfast. And in this case, it wasn't, I mean, it was a weird breakfast. I had like a turkey burger, which sometimes I do for breakfast, like maybe a turkey burger and a half. I know it's weird. I don't have time or the talent to like cook like a real breakfast. Okay. So I just want to go around the horn real quick. Give me your ideal breakfast, not necessarily what you had this morning. My ideal breakfast would be like scrambled eggs and I don't know, like waffles or something, or maybe like an egg, chicken, biscuit, McMuffin situation. That would be my ideal breakfast. Calvin, I'm going to go to you first, then Amags, then PropStarz, then Mikey B. Let's keep it quick.
I got to go with biscuits and gravy. I love a good biscuits and gravy for breakfast.
Okay. By the way, Amags, before you give somebody said I look like an oatmeal guy, and I find that very offensive. Amags, go ahead.
So there's been a lot of mentions here of me. I said that our Buckets actually said I look like a bagel guy. Someone said it was great for soaking up Yankees fans' tears, which I do appreciate. I think Buckets probably is a sloppy Joe for breakfast kind of guy, but mine is just the good old cereal.
All right.
I'm a eggs Benedict kind of guy. So crab cakes Benedict, salmon Benedict as well. I love a hollandaise sauce. So I'm have potatoes and eggs Benedict.
Okay, I'll put it out there. I hate eggs Benedict. It's because I hate the sauce though. Like I can't do the sauce. By the way, Amags, you not clarifying what type of cereal is such a rookie move, but you've lost your chance. Mikey B, what's your play?
Yeah, I like a light breakfast. I like cereal, a bowl of Cheerios, cinnamon oats. That's what I've been eating.
Oh, okay. All right. Amags, I guess you have next pick here. I know you have a Matt Olson prop. If you feel like clarifying the cereal of choice or a couple of cereals of choice, you're more than welcome to, but also give out your play.
So I think it might just be the way I grew up really quick here. See, I wasn't allowed to have sugared cereals. Oh. So it was a very slim choice of Special K, or the one sugared cereal I was allowed was Frosted Flakes. So it was one of the two at all times. That was it.
No sugar cereals except the most sugared cereal.
It was the only one my mom liked, so she was okay with that one. But let's take. I already mentioned in the chat, we got Dan Clark in the chat too, our resident Braves fan. He saw the hat. He must have heard a little birdie in his ear or something to hop in the show, know that I was coming with a Braves pick for him today. But we're bringing it back to the basics. Hasn't been a great little run here for some of the hitter props, as you guys saw, 0-2 yesterday. So I've got to come back from that. And what better way to do it? Take everything back to the basics with the Atlanta Braves. When we first started playing these hit run RBI props, you guys remember a few years ago, it was Matt Olson and Kyle Schwarber, our two steadfast guys that we were playing all the time for the overs. Well, Kyle Schwarber let us down yesterday. Matt Olson, do not let us down today against Chad Patrick here, who I think actually has some regression coming against lefties. We're going to play Olson over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. I think this is a pretty good price. We're getting some value on it, 1.5 here. You're going to be on the away team near the top of the lineup. Yesterday wasn't a great day for Olson, but he came through late with a double that meant absolutely nothing unless you had the total bases. So maybe you want to throw a little total bases in there today if you don't think the Braves will score. But I think that one-run effort against Quinn Priester is tough. They're going to come back from that today. Final game here for them in Milwaukee. So I think Matt Olson's a part of that. And at the 1.5 at this price at minus 135, I do think there's some value here. So I'm running with that one. Quick shout out to our boy Rick Funcannon in the chat, longtime listener. He said Cubs F5 money line for the live stream. He must have heard because I already had that as a pick for our Cubs game. So throw it in early.
I absolutely love that. So what Amags is referring to is before we get into the live show today at 12:55, that live show crew, which again is Amags, Sniper, Mike McLaurin, Tom Casale, they put in all their leans or maybe some official plays like in a document. So one of those, just a preview, a teaser, is that first 5 that Rick Funcannon mentioned. And we actually have a Cubs pick coming up with our SportsLine Picks. A lot of breakfast stuff coming in, which if we have time, we'll get to. We'll get back to that in a little bit. I do want to tell you about some BetMGM bonuses that you can use today, a couple of them actually. BetMGM account holders receive an NBA Finals odds boost token for Game 3. To use the odds boost token, make an NBA Finals bet tonight and activate the boost. If the bet wins, you get extra winnings. And then BetMGM players will receive a no sweat token to apply to MLB home run bets. Just make a bet on a player to hit a home run today and activate the token. If your bet loses, you will receive bonus bets back. I got to tell you, so we didn't have a good recap screen, but 2 of our 3 home run model plays came through. And the home run model plays have really been coming through. So if you check out the SportsLine model or what we're putting on the SportsLine Picks page, I mean, those have, in fact, on Monday, I asked Mackenzie Brooks, what were we up in the home run plays over the last 60 days? It was plus 32 units. That's got to be way more now after hitting 2 out of 3 yesterday and I think 1 out of 3 the day before. So check those out if you're interested in home run props. SportsLine Picks. Before we get to so many more picks with people on this show, we got San Francisco Giants. We're taking the run line minus 1.5 at minus 132. That one courtesy of JLC. Then look at this. Cubs money line, full game, Bruce Marshall at plus 105. And then from Tuesday, we're pulling this one over just to remind everybody, Lou Dort over 7.5 points at minus 130. And then we've got a producer pick. Can Ben step in here and give out the producer pick? Pacers first quarter plus 1.5. Ben, what say you?
Yeah, and I'm just I want to echo everyone else's thoughts about this game, about how the Pacers are just really good back at home. I wrote up some of the stats. I mean, they're plus 15 in net rating in first quarters at home in the playoffs. They're 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 home playoff games in the first quarter. So they just come out really hot at home. And I think this is the perfect spot for them to do it. Halliburton, Pascal Siakam, they're both kind of looking for a bounce back game. Siakam went 3 for 11 in game 2. I don't think he's going to do that again from the field. So I think they come home. This is the first playoff finals game for the Pacers fans in like 25 years. The place is going to be rocking. I think they start out really hot in this first quarter. So I like taking the points with them at 1.5. I think they can easily win it as well if you're bold and want to take the money line. But I think we see a fast start from the Pacers tonight.
PropStarz, you like the plus 5 or even the plus 5.5, I should say, at BetMGM. And Mikey B, it sounded like, if memory serves, you were leaning that way as well. You like this first quarter play, PropStarz? I mean, again, these aren't bets you necessarily make, but I know Ben's pretty proficient with them. I expect the Pacers to get off to a good start as well.
I do as well. I also think it's been a point of emphasis for them to get off to a fast start, considering their penchant from playing from behind, which they've, done a good job of closing deficits in the second half. But obviously that's not sustainable long term. So I have to think it's going to be a point of emphasis for Rick Carlisle for the team to get off to a good start. So I just think that, coupled with the home crowd, the energy is going to be great, as Ben mentioned. This looks like a good spot.
All right. Joey B says, wow, 6 windows. Epic day here on SportsLine. So much coming on SportsLine. Again, we've got the live show at 12:55. the U.S. Open, the third major. The live chat is at 4 o'clock with me and Rick Game, and who knows, maybe Mike McClure will stop into that one as well. But there's just a lot going on in this channel. If there was ever a week to turn your notifications on, it would be this week. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel as well. All right, before we get to the home run props, Ben, let's go ahead and take a break. Here's a message from our partners.
I mean, can't you see it? The game is evolving. Records are breaking, and the stars are shining. Here on CBS Sports Network.
We're back on the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Before we get to home runs and to my golf pick for tomorrow, round one matchup, Calvin, I do want to ask you about this Pacers series. Obviously, you cover the WNBA extensively, but you're certainly give a nod to the NBA as well. Do you have any thoughts on Game 3?
Yeah, I'm with everyone that has spoken here. I love the Pacers in this series, in this game. If Halliburton wouldn't have hit that shot, I'd probably like them even more, because we know how teams in the NBA playoffs, when they're down 0-2, come out hot at home. But even 1-1, I still think that this is an excellent spot for all the reasons that Ben laid out, for all the reasons that everyone's laid out. The Pacers have been underrated by the markets, by the sports books, by everyone, basically all playoffs, which is ironic when Halliburton got named the most overrated player. But to be honest, the markets have been underrating them, so I love them.
Yeah. By the way, everybody loves your shirt, Calvin, as well, including me. I gave a compliment to you before we even went live, and there were like 2 or 3 people that were like, Calvin, that is a great shirt. Let's get to home run model plays and Amags. Maybe we'll get a response to you from Ellie De La Cruz. We got Nick Kurtz and Nolan Arenado. Looks like there's some pretty great value on Ellie De La Cruz. SportsLine model says plus 380 versus the real odds of plus 600. Nick Kurtz, a bit of value, plus 450 versus plus 500. And then Nolan Arenado, plus 500 versus plus 600. Amags, any comments on these three, or was there anybody or maybe any game environment that you were looking at today where you were like, all right, balls could be flying out?
Well, look, I missed on Aaron Judge yesterday. I've mentioned a lot in the chat about how Noah Cameron was likely to do, a lot of regression. But man, he hit a ball nearly 500 feet last night. So I will not pick against Aaron Judge again today. I will go with him. But on this list, I do have to say Nick Kurtz. So he was on the IL or, injured, just came back. This would be like his second game back. I was looking at this game, JP Sears against Kyle Hendricks. I just think that there's going to be a good bit of runs. And I was even trying to parlay each pitcher on the hits allowed, maybe bring them down a number. So waiting for DraftKings to open that. But I think there's going to be some runs and hits. I think Nick Kurtz of the A's.
Okay. CLE fan, Cleveland fan, of course, says, sadly, I love the Cruz play 80 and hot here already. So that's certainly good for balls.
That's a lot of value. That is a lot of value in terms of the real odds versus our model.
And again, we saw a lot of value yesterday with basically all three, but certainly 2 out of 3. And those might have been the 2 that ended up hitting. I got to go back and check. But hitting 2 out of 3, listen, I mean, some people bet these with a sprinkle, and maybe that's the way to go. But so we're trying to have fun here, but we're also trying to bet responsibly and all of those things. Sprinkling on some of these, if you have, you've certainly made some money. Okay, let's get to my golf play. And while we're here, you need to watch the early wedge. And if you don't want to watch it, just listen to the podcast, because yesterday's early wedge was extremely, extremely informative. Jason Sobel's just always so good. And he shares some stories, including a story that he literally never verbalized in his life that he told yesterday on the show, which was very, very interesting, involving a golf cart accident, solo golf cart accident. But go watch that show, because all of our picks are on there. Patrick McDonald didn't make it, but it was me, EC, and Jason Sobel. On that show, I gave out a round 1 matchup that I actually didn't bring to today's show. Maybe I'll talk about it tomorrow, because it's tomorrow afternoon. But Curtis Garrow says, Sia, where can we find your round 1 Cameron Young versus Rasmus Højgaard matchup? That is on DraftKings under 18-hole matchups. So there's so many different areas where you can find matchups, whether it's BetMGM or FanDuel or DraftKings. So you don't just look at round 3 balls. You don't just look at 3-ball matchups. You also can scroll over and look at 18-hole matchups. And that's where that one is. They go out in the afternoon. So I believe it's the last 18-hole matchup that's offered on DraftKings for round 1. The round 1 matchup I'm going to go with is the guy I hit an outright on last week at 50-1 in the without market. It was Ryan Fox, of course. And I'm taking him in round 1, minus 130. This is under 3-ball matchups, by the way. Ryan Fox, minus 130 over Ben An. This is a classic case of Ryan Fox just coming in as the hot hand. It wasn't just last week that I was on him. In fact, Jason Sobel was on him when he won the first time at Myrtle Beach about 3 weeks ago. He has been very good off the tee specifically. Normally, he's a distance guy, but he's reining it in with the accuracy as well. And accuracy and distance going to be really important here. We know he's been getting it done with the approach and the putting as well, not just last week, but really over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Been on kind of all over the place. Can have some length off the tee, but that's really all he's offering. And I think he's going to lose in round 1 to Ryan Fox. Again, I'm willing to pay the juice -130 over bet on it. Don't forget about my Siwoo Kim play, top Korean, which I gave out yesterday at +225. All right, Calvin, we go back to you, and then we get to go to the NFL with PropStarz and maybe a couple of MLB questions before we get out of here. But again, most of those MLB questions will be answered during that 1 o'clock hour, 1 o'clock to basically 2:30 is as much as we're going. Storm Lynx, Calvin.
Yeah, we're taking the under in this game. It's been bouncing around. A couple weeks ago in May on this show, the same matchup, I took the same under, 157.5. Well on pace to hit 12 points in the last 27 seconds, finished at 159. So had to run it back here after that bad beat for all the reasons that I said on that show in terms of the slower paced teams, the defense. This matchup just always lends itself to a grinded out type of game. But in addition, mentioned the Commissioner's Cup earlier. That game was not a Commissioner's Cup game. This one is. And those games have been lower scoring, a little bit of a playoff atmosphere. You don't even have to follow the WNBA. If you follow basketball at all, you know how when the lights get brighter, the game is played a little differently. It slows down. The defensive intensity kind of ramps up. That's what we've seen so far in June in these Commissioner's Cup games. They've been going under by about 5 points on average. And this is the biggest Commissioner's Cup game probably of the year so far. Like I said, the Lynx are first in the West. The Storm are a game behind them. Head-to-head is the tiebreaker, so if the Storm win, they'll have that. Basically, whoever wins this game is firmly in control in the driver's seat to come out of the West for the Commissioner's Cup championship game. They don't do the little bracket like the NBA because there's fewer teams. So instead of 8 teams, it's just one championship game, East winner and West winner. Winner of this one, very likely to be the West winner. So this is really going to be a playoff-like atmosphere, which I think is going to help the under and lend it to even more of a low-scoring game. So again, it's been bouncing around. It was 155.5, back up to 157.5, down to 156.5. So make sure you shop around. But any of those numbers I like. I would have it more like 153.5.
Many people are saying that the early edge chat is the best chat. And Joe Neuenfeld proves it pretty much on a daily basis. He says, Calvin's shirt is like if bowling shoes became a shirt. That is absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Joe Neuenfeld. All right, we have a question relating Proppy and Mikey B real quick before we get to Proppy, your NFL play. Again, 86 days away from NFL kickoff. And it's on Alex Caruso. I believe it's a PRA line of 15.5. And Proppy, I seem to recall you were on a play like this, I don't know, last week or something. I don't know that it came in, but would you be on the under 15.5 PRA?
I do like his under 15.5 PRA. So, yeah, I was going to take a good look at this after the show. There's a distinct possibility I may place this bet. But, yeah, I think Caruso's played exceptionally well. I think he's playing a little bit above his head, shot 4 or 5 from 3 in game 2. So, this looks like a definite regression spot to me. I like the under quite a bit.
Mikey B, your thoughts?
I probably wouldn't play it. If I had to lean, I would lean under. Bench guys on the road traditionally don't thrive. But again, it's Alex Caruso, and that guy just steps up when the lights are the brightest here. He's the guy that has the playoff experience on the Thunder. I'd probably avoid it. If I had to lean it, I'd go under, but I don't feel great about it.
All right. Well, like I said, we are Todd Heap as Zach Ertz days away from NFL season. A couple tight ends for you. PropStarz, speaking of tight ends, you like an NFL tight end prop.
I do. I love an NFL tight end prop. And again, traditionally or historically, I primarily play unders when it comes to season-long props. But I think the market here has overcorrected, and I think there's a lot of value to be had on star player overs. And I look at Brock Bowers coming off just a phenomenal rookie season, had nearly 1,200 receiving yards, was just 6 receptions shy of breaking the all-time record for most receptions held by Zach Ertz in a season. So just an absolutely incredible season from Brock Bowers. That's despite Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew throwing him passes. So I think this number should be 1,100, maybe even 1,150 yards. It's just 1,000 yards for Brock Bowers, who's going to, again, be the focal point of this Raiders offense, which I think is going to drastically improve. First and foremost, the coaching staff has improved. Pete Carroll as the head coach here. Also, Chip Kelly running the show, offensive coordinator of the Raiders heading into the season. And then the Raiders had an excellent offseason and draft. They added, obviously, Genty at running back, Betch at wide receiver, who I think are day one immediate impact starters. But Brock Bowers is going to be the guy here. And Geno Smith, throughout his career, has targeted tight ends at an above high frequency. So, yeah, I just think Brock Bowers, once again, is going to see upwards of 200 targets in this passing attack. And I think the Raiders defense may or may not be average to a below average. So it's going to invite a lot of high scoring environments and force the Raiders to air the ball out, maybe a little bit extra as well, playing in that difficult division, the AFC West. But yeah, I love Brock Bowers to go over 1,000 yards. I think he can eclipse this in 12 or 13 games. So even has a little injury built in, but yeah, I'm all in on Brock Bowers. I think he's already the best pass catching tight end, maybe in NFL history.
Well, I don't think that's true because Clint Didier played for Washington, and he's that guy. Scott Y brings up Clint Didier, who, of course, also wore 86 in the 80s. These references are amazing. Guess what? We get to do this 85 more times because we got to go through all the numbers. So I'm very excited about that as we count down to kickoff. There's some golf questions in the chat, but because we're running long, please bring those to the 4 o'clock show. And if you can't make the 4 o'clock show live, then just go to the chat and put in your questions before we even get started. And we're going to answer your questions. You can listen to the podcast or listen to the show later, but hopefully we get you live at 4 o'clock. And to the extent you have baseball questions, we'll answer those too at 12:55 when we do that show. So a lot going on today. We can answer all of those questions. PropStarz, I love the NFL stuff. And we got so much more NFL stuff coming on this channel, on CBS Sports Network. And the stuff we do on CBS Sports Network, if you can't catch it, most of that NFL stuff will be cut up and put on the SportsLine YouTube channel. So again, make sure you're subscribed. Let's take a look at the recap screen before we finally get everybody out of here. I'm on a round one matchup. This is tomorrow, the U.S. Open. Ryan Fox, -130 over Byung-Hun An, otherwise known as Benny An. Matt Olson, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. That's courtesy of Amags. It's -135. Then Calvin Wetzel, going back to the Storm links, under 156.5 at -110. Brock Bowers, NFL prop, a future. Brock Bowers, over 1,000.5 receiving yards, courtesy of PropStarz. That one, -110. And then tonight, Chet Holmgren, over 14.5 points at -115. Let's go to it. Don't forget what he said about Miles Turner as well and his lean in that points department. Then we've got the San Francisco Giants run line, -1.5, -132 from JLC. Cubs money line, +105. Don't forget, Cubs first 5 is going to be a play on that live show. Make sure you join us at 12:55. And from Tuesday, Zach Simony joined us. He had Lou Dort over 7.5 points at -130. Oh, and there's one more. One of the sharpest guys we've got. It's Ben. It's our producer pick. Pacers first quarter +1.5 at -115. Let's go Pacers tonight. There's a lot of Pacers momentum tonight. I'm even accidentally wearing the yellow to support the Pacers myself, but it's not the best shirt on the screen because Calvin Wetzel wins that prize. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to get out of here. On behalf of Mikey B, on behalf of Calvin, Amags, PropStarz, you'll see us all later on in the day, I'm sure. And, of course, on behalf of Ben on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s, this is the Early Edge. We rest our case.